This is Splash, a free arts workshop based in Chattanooga, Tennessee. These videos are a series of remote art classes for youth and can be found on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. This is number 68, Details in Pencil.
Hello, hello, everybody. Hello, boys and girls. I am Charlie Newton, and this is Splash. Welcome to another Splash art class. We are going to do some drawing today once again, because drawing is the foundation of everything. To be even more specific, lines are the foundation of everything in the arts. I even see line in dancing. I see art components in all of the arts. So we are using pencil today. I just want to show you the range of pencils that you could use. I'm talking about, speaking of drawing pencils, and you notice that our drawing pencils do not have erasers. And in class, we try to encourage kids not to erase, but to try to fix things. Because if you sketch, then you leave yourself a lot of options open. And so we are going to approach this drawing as a sketch, which will turn into a drawing. So I'll be thinking about the gesture of this object. Even though we're going to draw an inanimate object, there still is a sort of feel or a flow to everything, and that would be your gesture. And then we'll look at the contour as we begin to develop our drawing. I'm going to take my time. We're going to do it in pencil, black and white, and we're going to sort of blow up this object. Now, I'm using an object that I've had since the 70s. I bought this conga drum in the 1970s, and I've had it with me my entire life. I treasure this drum. I was introduced to African music in the 70s, and there was something about that syncopated rhythm that spoke to me. And you know, I didn't know the difference at that time between conga drums and African drums. That the conga drum doesn't necessarily come from Africa, but the origins are from Africa in African drumming. I also love the music from Rio de Janeiro and South America, and I found out that the conga drum was more of a Hispanic South American, but Spanish people have their roots in Africa. Every culture has its roots in Africa because everybody comes from Africa. So this drum has a rich meaning to me. So whenever you're drawing something, even if it's a still life, try to find some type of meaning, some personal meaning. And that will enhance your drawing, not consciously, but subconsciously, your drawings will be enhanced because your mind and your heart will connect to your hand, and the drawing will become more important. Even though it's just a study, we use drawings for studies, just to figure out what we're looking at. So the drawing is also like a road map to the object, and we try to use different techniques to trick the eye, because a drawing is a flat, two-dimensional thing, but what we're doing is making comments about something that's three-dimensional. So let's go ahead and get started and see what happens. So here's a sketch that I did of this drum last week, and we did this sketch upside down like this on white paper, not an off-white paper. Also last week, we used the drum to just to be creative, to see how we could abstract things. And I wanted to draw a picture of a drummer to try to express myself. And this is very Charlie Newton-ish. I've been drawing like this for 50 years in this manner, this fashion of expressing myself this expresses my love for music. Okay, so now, oh, by the way, this was done on an off-white paper. I think I want to do this drawing today on a white paper. You can see the difference in the color of the paper. And this paper is hot pressed, so it's smoother, much smoother than the other paper. So let's see what happens. As always, use something to keep your hand off the paper. We have acids and things like that in our hands. So I'm just going to get a paper towel this time. You could also use another sheet of paper. So when I get ready to do details, I'm probably going to want to rest my palm on the paper. So I have the drawing right here next to me in person, but I also see what you are looking at. So I'm just going to, for today, draw from the image that you have. But I also have the real drum, the actual drum sitting next to me. And the reason why I'm drawing from the image that you have is because I want you to see what, I want us to have the same reference. I'm going to start with an H pencil. So I'm looking at my pencils. I have a HB. I have a 2H. I'd rather use a 2H because it's an even harder lead. And let's see if I have just a regular H. And the reason why I'm starting with a hard lead, and I'll be saying things like this over and over again until it becomes second nature to you. Some of these things need to become second nature. You just need to say it over and over again. Okay. So I have my image next to me. And I'm trying to decide how much of this drum to draw. I don't want to draw too much because I want to show some real detail. So I'm just going to draw the top part, the top of the drum. So let's start with this oval. So I'm going to just sort of sketch it in lightly. Now I can always go back with my art gum or kneaded eraser and erase areas that I don't need. So when we practice contour drawing, and we'll do some more contour drawing, it's sometimes it's the sort of boring things that you do that will help you to become better at what you do. So we see all of this as practice. So this is kind of like a contour drawing and a gesture done at the same time. I'm approaching it first as a contour. So I'm really looking at some details. And if I stop talking, that means I'm trying to solve a problem here. I'm trying to solve a light problem here. So I just have to hold it. But so I'm looking at the details, but I'm still sketching. holding my pencil very loosely. I'm just trying to pencil in but where things might be. I'm going to try to solve some of these problems later. I'm looking more at how the thing is made now. When you do a contour drawing, you're looking at the outer edge. It's kind of like you imagine yourself as small as an ant, and you're crawling around the object. So these lines I'm putting in now are very important. So I'm actually trying to draw what I see. Last week I was trying to draw what I feel. Today I'm trying to draw what I see. There's a difference. I think if you're able to do both well, notice I'm straightening my paper up, so my paper may move around a little bit. I think if you are able to do both well, then your drawings will improve. Now, this drawing appears to be mechanical, but it's not, because I'm still sketching. I'm trying to draw what I see, and I'm going to infuse what I feel into this drawing, hopefully. So, when doing circles, you know that the top, this drum head, is a circle. But when turned to the side, it looks like an oval. Let's see if I can find a top. Okay. Like this plate here. We know that this plate is a circle. Matter of fact, let's turn it this way, because this is sort of like the shape of that drum head. But we know the top is a circle. And as I began to get lower and lower and lower from the side, the circle turns into an oval. And you can see that this shape here, this triangular, these lines that sort of converge in toward the circle, I see the triangle that's here. Just like the drum head. And you notice that the drum head is rounded around the edges of this circle. If you look at it close, it's round. So this is very close to the shape that we're drawing of the head. And now the drum head is made of animal skin, and then it's held together by metal, which comes from rocks. And the whole thing is supported by wood, which comes from a tree. So we are thinking about things like that. We remember things like that. We are reminded of those types of things. So I have the sketch here, and I have my, always control the model. So I have the picture that I'm working from here, but I'm still just eyeing things in. There's something about drawing, not so mechanical. Now I could measure everything, or I could trace it, or I could blow it up. But I think we lose some expression when we do that. So let's just try to eye it in. And the background, I don't know what the background was going to be, but my mind just told me to put some shading here, so I'm doing it. So now, by the time you get here, once you can sketch, then your personal way of doing things and seeing comes into play. Now, I never noticed before how far out this metal ring is away, how far away it is from the drum head itself. Now, one thing I can do, I probably shouldn't do this because I'm going to present myself a problem. But I know, just so that you know, I know that I have astigmatism, so I don't see things level. So one thing I could do is I could put a ruler here, and this ruler is pretty straight, and I can see if I'm doing things sort of level. I'm going to use this ring here, the point of this ring. So it's pretty level. It's level enough. So now I'm just drawing. So when I say things like I'm just drawing, that means I'm doing it my way. So at the back of this drum, you can see the top of this ring, which is a circle as well. You can see the ridge of the ring. You see the top ridge of this ring. And the thing about it is, my sketch might look right to me, but I'm going to go ahead and measure this. I don't want it to be too mechanical, but I don't want it to be so far off that I'm going to be displeased. Okay, so this is close. I'm seeing it correctly. I could just, when I say measure, there's different ways of measuring. And one way is measuring with a ruler, and the other way is measuring the thing with your eye and your pencil. And this time, what I did with my eye matched up with what was happening with the ruler. So right now, my hand is touching the paper. I have so many lines here. When you sketch, that's what happens. But sooner or later, you have to choose which line you're going to use. And sometimes just by darkening the line, that happens. Now, I don't mind, since I'm a painter, most of the time my drawings get covered up anyway. So I don't mind showing a lot of lines. So this ring comes out far beyond the side of this drum head. So what I have to do now, I need to turn my paper sideways to draw this ridge here. So my sketch shows me basically where that line is. So I'm just following my sketch now. And I definitely want you to see this ridge because it's going to make it look more realistic if I draw this ring, the ridge of this metal ring here. So by turning my paper sideways, it's easier for me to use the circle in my wrist joint. See that circle here? It's like a compass that's in your hand. The human body is full of circles. We can see that in the Michelangelo drawing. I'm going to draw this thing again. When I turn this to the side, I can see how it's kind of wonky there, this line here. And the advantage of drawing, this is the advantage of drawing on a drafting table, which I almost never do. When I was growing up, I drew on the floor or on the kitchen table, but mostly on the floor. Because my mother would always be cooking our dinner once we got home from school, and I would be on the floor drawing something. Something would have caught my fancy. I would be on the floor drawing. And it would make my mother, she would get upset if she called us for dinner and we didn't come. So she would call us for dinner, and if I was drawing, I, I wouldn't come because I would hear her, but I wouldn't hear her. And then, more times than not, she would make me stop drawing to come eat my dinner because that she had slaved over the stove for an hour after coming home from working all day. So I understand that. But if my father was at home, he would tell her, leave him alone, let him draw, and he can eat dinner later. So he would, that's the only time my father went against my mother, is if I was drawing. No other time did he, but she listened to him. They didn't have an argument about it. She would listen to him because he thought that my talent was very important. And I don't even know if he knew. I guess he did know that I would be an artist one day. And I'm very thankful for parents who saw that I was doing something that made me happy, that brought joy, and something that would be useful one day. And any artist will tell you, all artists we're creative people. So we spend our lives figuring out how to do stuff. So it really helps us to navigate life as well. And challenges in life. So I'm drawing these hooks here. Now, this thing was at the wrong angle. So I'm trying to get the correct angle of these hooks. Now this is good practice. Drawing in still life is great practice for the artist because we're training our eyes how to see. And you will make a lot of mistakes. And the thing to do is try to fix the mistakes. See how you can fix the mistakes. Figure out a way to fix them. And when I say fix them, I don't mean we're not trying to make a photograph. If I wanted a photograph, I would take a photograph with my camera. What I want is a drawing. So I don't want a photograph, I want a drawing. So that's what I'm trying to do. Fix it so that it looks like a compelling drawing. You don't have to draw every detail. Only draw the details that matter to you. So with this hook, I'm going to put more detail than probably anywhere in the drawing. Because it's right there in front. Using, again, the skills of contour drawing to try to figure out where everything, what's happening, to try to see what's actually happening visually. What does it actually look like to me? It's so easy to leave stuff out. So this area would be the metal ring, and the animal skin stretched over the drum head, which this wooden part of the drum would be right here on this line. So skin stretched over that, and then clamped with this metal ring. And this part here under the ring is the residue of the animal skin. So I actually left that out. I don't know why. It's one of the first things that I saw, this little part here, and the first thing that I forgot about. You're thinking about so many things when you're drawing. So what that does, that changes everything around here. So it's just a little detail that, again, I saw it and I didn't see it. Now sometimes, well, a lot of times, with a drawing in art, you want to exaggerate some of your lines to get the feel of it. I actually exaggerate without thinking these days because I've been doing it so long. But to sort of trick the eye, the viewer's eye, you want to exaggerate some things sometimes. Just keep that option open. So we're just eyeing things in. Just what does it look like to me? You may see it differently. Okay. Everybody see things differently. So one of the things that I want to do now, I want to bring this rim out. I see it, so it'll bother me for the rest of time if I don't make that change. You don't notice it at first because we don't really know what we're looking at. And your sketching, your drawing is an investigation. We're teaching ourselves, we're training our eyes to see. And this space here, there's some things happening that I was trying to squeeze things in to make them fit, but they don't fit. It doesn't feel right. So I'm moving this out some to make it feel right, because that's something I noticed, how far out this ring appears to be. And I noticed that because of my contour drawing. When you change one thing on a picture, everything changes, by the way. And that's the problem. That's why, you really have to decide if you're going to change things. I sat here looking at this thing, and I had said to myself, okay, that don't matter that much. But it did matter because I couldn't stop thinking about it. So if it's going to bother me, I may as well fix it now. Don't make it so precious. Don't make your drawing so precious that you can't change it, because that stunts your growth. I'm going to raise this head up a little higher, because this is what I'm looking at. For some reason, these little areas in here have become very important to me. But you see how we're making changes? They've done infrared photographs of some of the old masters' painting. And in every masterpiece, we don't see many masterpieces today because people don't have the patience to, a lot of people don't have the patience to actually train themselves. But what I appreciate about art is the masterpieces. I appreciate being able to do something that everybody can't do. Everybody can draw on a certain level, but the changes that you make, this is what you see the masters doing. Now, I've only used one pencil so far. I think I'm going to use this 2H pencil as far as I can, as long as I can, then I'll go to a different pencil. So this looks kind of wonky here, but this is how it actually looks in the picture. And I don't know if it's because my drum is very old, so my drum is kind of wonky. But what it does for me, it tells me how this thing is made. Some people don't understand, when you start talking art, they don't understand the artists need to know how things are put together, how things are made. It's powers of observation. And I still probably didn't bring this out far enough. For some reason, I want this area here, which looks strange, really. I want it to work a certain way. So that line, this line should be straight up and down. It should be perpendicular. But there probably should be more space in it. So I'm going to do that. So now I'm doing nothing but contour here. Nothing but contour drawing. And I'm looking at the negative space here. If you don't, if you know, that's every splash class is important because I teach some new concept. Some new concept comes out every class, and this is one of the most important concepts to learning how to draw. I've decided over here to draw the negative space and not the positive because I can't uh, see or do the positive shape the way I want to. So now I switch to the negative shape, the negative space, and see if that helps. And it does. It changes everything. But drawing is an investigation. I'm showing you how I see. And why are you doing that? Because I'm an artist. That's what artists do. That's what you need to tell them. Kids, if somebody asks, why did you do that? Tell them, because I'm an artist. In Splash, we really appreciate children's talent. We really do. It's one of the things that makes you you, makes you unique. So this drum has an indentation right here, and I'm going to draw that. I've had this drum all these years, but I'm just now, today, actually looking at it. I mean, I've seen the drum, but I'm also glancing at my live drum here, but I'm looking at the photograph that you are looking at. So I'm just going to draw this top part here. And I don't even know if I'm going to finish this part today. But we're just hanging out, doing art. Are you keeping up with me? Are you drawing this drum as well? So the light is hitting the top of the drum. So the top of the drum is going to appear to be much lighter. This skin is old. It needs to be treated. It needs to be oiled. I actually have some more drums, so I don't even. I play with this drum a little bit, but not that much. But the skin needs to be cleaned. This is a mess. The actual wooden part is coming apart. But I can't force myself to throw it away. Just love the drums. For me, it was the first time that I had heard African music, and that caused me to get this drum. When I heard the drums, I wanted a drum. I am not a musician, but I still love the drum. Now, one thing, I focused so much on this rim that I did not draw the hooks that's in front. I keep touching my phone and losing the image. So since I'm trying to draw what I see, and I'm using my contour drawing technique to decide where everything's going. I just basically imagine myself being small. I try to measure with my eyes the distance between where this hook starts and where this one ends. I look for the angle of the hooks. I know it's a upside down triangle, but the line, this angle here could be here, it could be here. I try to line up this angle, get that correct. Now, the viewer, the person who looks at the art, other than you, they don't know, but you know. And remember, you're training your eyes. So by you making decisions and changing your mind, that's a good thing. It's good to change your mind. You don't want to be so obsessed with it, though, that sometimes younger artists get, especially teenagers, get obsessed, a little bit too obsessed. Some do, some don't. Some just enjoy it, and I just want you to enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing, and don't make it so important, It is important, but don't make it more important than it needs to be. Unless you have an art show coming up. Then it needs to be pretty important. It's just like having a game come up. There's a slight S curve in this hook. I'm enjoying getting that. So how many minutes we have, Ian? About
16.
Really?
16. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna. I see the clock. So really, now everything that I've been doing today so far, you notice I'm still making changes. I want this little triangle inside here to be more open. So I'm going to change that and start the hook here. And make this hook a little skinnier. So that's more open. So I'm cleaning up my changes as I make them. So what I'm doing is I'm setting the drawing up for the shading. I'm trying to set everything up, get everything in place. It don't matter how long this takes. This could take 2 days. It doesn't matter. Only time it matters is if you have, say you're doing a project for school, or you have an art exhibition coming up. But mainly, or if you're working on the job, because you can make money doing this, by the way. Commercial arts, illustrators, there are so many art jobs available today, other than the job that I do. I like working for myself, so uh, I just do my thing and try to sell it. But there's so many jobs that you can get in art, illustration, fashion design. Most architects draw. So I'm getting to the point now where some of the detail is unnecessary, and I'm trying to decide what's going to be unnecessary, because most of my drawing is going to be up in here. So I'm trying to decide how far down do I want the detail. There's also this hook back here is very important in the back. You don't hardly notice it, but the drawing need to make sense. It needs to be logical, unless it's abstract. This is not an abstract. This is more like this is a still life. So now what I do is I look at the drawing and see what do I want. Do I want to put anything else in? I do, and how much detail do I want to put in? Remember, it has to make sense if you're going to do a drawing that's sort of realistic. Now, if I put a lot of detail, this is for the advanced students. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about balance. I need most of my weight on the left-hand side. So I don't want to overdo the details on the right-hand side. I can have some detail here, but for balance purposes, it feels better to me to have more detail on the left-hand side. And that's simply because in the West, we read from left to right. So there's so many changes I want to make to this thing. I could just keep changing this in ad infinitum, but I won't. Okay, so I'm adding a little detail at a time. And I'm hoping I don't add too much. I want to say something about the pressure of tightening this drum. There's a nut here. That's what I'm drawing now. And with a wrench, you would tighten this nut. And that would push this rim down here. These hooks push this rim down on the drum head, which tightens it around the base. And that's why I drew this detail here. I wanted to show that. So now I'm beginning to put in a few shadows with this 2H pencil. I could make this line with a ruler, and I can actually move the ruler to make a line. I'll give you a demonstration. I'm getting ready to stop in a couple of minutes, and we can continue the next time because I just don't feel like rushing this, and I don't want you to rush. So I drew this little small S curve. This is an S. So anything like that we call an S curve. So I could put a ruler on here and draw that line. It'll be straight. I really don't want this to be mechanical at all, so I'm resisting drawing lines from a ruler. But if I wanted to, I could get that curve by just moving the ruler. See, I can get that curve by, let's do it again. Put this line closer so you can get that S curve there. But I'd rather do it like freehand. So you can actually, and since the curve is more like this, you can easily do this with a ruler. Well, it's not easy. It takes practice, but you can do it. It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice to do that. So just wanted to show you that little technique. So this curve is barely visible. Now I'm just going to shade. See, I'm starting to shade. I'm still using the same pencil. And I'll get darker and darker as I draw this. See, now I want to change this side here. I'm going to change that because I see it a different way. The more you do, the more you see. Practice make perfect. But since I'm actually focusing on this little area here, so I'm just making changes without erasing this time. You don't always have to erase to make a change. So I need to bring that out some. Remember, we did the same thing on the right-hand side. Now, I don't have to make all these changes, but I want to because of what we're doing today. I want you to get the understanding that the more you do, the more you see. I don't erase any lines until I know I don't need them. So when I'm erasing, it's not, oh, I made a mistake, I got to erase it. No, it's I have fixed the mistake. I know what the mistake is, and I have fixed it already. Now I just need to clean the drawing up. There's a difference. Now I'm just cleaning up lines that I don't need anymore. Not that I made a mistake, I'm going to erase it. You have to see, you need to see. I don't like using the word have to see. I use that phrase. I guess we don't have to do anything, but it's helpful to see your mistakes. And that's why we don't erase in class, because I want you to find your mistakes and see them and figure out what you need to do. And then you erase your lines just to clean up the drawing. And with that in mind, mistakes they're not such a big deal. You're not emotionally attached to the drawing. You don't beat yourself up because you made a wrong line. It's just a line. It's just pencil. So, or it's just paint. You don't beat yourself up when you don't like what's happening. You are in control. You are the artist. It can be ugly. You can make ugly art. It's okay. Everybody don't have to like your art. That's okay. And for me, it's not whether I like. When I look at a student's art, it's not about whether I like it. I don't have to like it for it to be worthy. I'm more concerned with, did you give 100%? Did you see this? Did you see that? Did you consider this? Did you consider that? And that's how we grow in Splash. You see how I'm pulling everything I can from this 2H pencil here. I'm drawing the picture with the 2H, which is a very hard lead. So all my lines are gray because of the hardness of the pencil. See these little lines here now? I don't need those lines and those hooks. I could also use my kneaded eraser, which I would use the kneaded eraser probably, in the end, because it really cleans things up. I'm going to stop this here. This area here is working. This is where I want to go with the drawing. You can see my thinking. You can see my sketch. You can see me trying to figure things out. That's what makes a drawing powerful. Now I'm thinking about the drawing, so I'm changing this line right here, making it a little wider for the drawing's sake, to try to make my statement. And I can get rid of the line I don't need, but I can keep some of the, I don't have to erase all the lines. I want some of my investigative lines to remain, because that's the language, the visual language of this drawing. And as you can see, with my lines now, my lines are beginning to say something to me. My lines to me right now, I'm just looking mostly on this side. See how the lines are varied? My lines are beginning to vary. I'm beginning to make some kind of statement. This is so much fun. I'm going to leave this pencil here. I'm going to leave this paper here. And we're going to call this a day. Oh, man. I really, really love art, don't you? I really, really like to draw. Please, you can play this over and over again. You can stop it, speed it up, go back to certain points. Draw your own drum, and use my drawing as a guide, and you see you will begin to express something, that's uniquely you. This has been Charlie Newton, and this has been Splash. Thank you for joining us, and remember, as always, art is for everyone. Bye-bye.